The entertainment enslavement. How to reclaim your mind. Imagine waking up in a world where silence feels uncomfortable, where the absence of stimulation is almost painful, a world where every moment must be filled with sound, motion, and distraction. Otherwise, people feel lost, anxious, incomplete. Now realize that world is not the future. It's the one we live in today. We live in an era of infinite entertainment. Every second, new videos appear, new streams launch, new notifications arrive. The modern mind is drowning in stimulation, and yet we call it freedom. But is it truly freedom, or has entertainment become our new form of slavery? Ponder this. When was the last time you sat in silence without reaching for your phone? When did you last allow boredom to exist and to breathe? What if boredom is not the enemy, but the birthplace of genius? Throughout history, the greatest minds, from Aristotle to Nietzsche, saw contemplation as the highest human activity. Today, contemplation has been replaced by consumption. The engineering of addiction. Our addiction to entertainment didn't happen by accident. It was engineered slowly, subtly, and intentionally. The human brain evolved in scarcity, not abundance. Our ancestors struggled for survival. Today, the struggle has shifted, not for food, but for attention. The industry discovered a profound truth. The same mechanisms that keep us alive, reward, curiosity, novelty, can be hijacked. Every scroll, every notification, every episode cliffhanger triggers the same dopamine loops that once drove us to hunt and explore. The result is a population overstimulated yet underfulfilled. We are not short on time, we are short on attention, and attention is the currency of consciousness. Neil Postman, in his prophetic book Amusing Ourselves to Death, warned that we were not heading toward Orwell's nightmare of oppression, but Huxley's nightmare of distraction. A world where people willingly surrender their freedom, not because they're forced, but because they're entertained. He wrote this before the internet, before smartphones. If he were alive today, he might say, "We've gone far beyond amusement. We now worship it." Ask yourself, how often do we consume entertainment not because we want to, but because we can't stand not to? There's a profound difference between watching a film for inspiration and endlessly scrolling because silence feels unbearable. The first enriches the mind, the second erodes it. Philosopher Theodor Adorno of the Frankfurt School saw this danger long ago. He described the culture industry, a system where art becomes product, where creativity is mass-produced, and where audiences are trained, not inspired. Entertainment in this sense becomes a tranquilizer. It keeps society quiet, predictable, and easy to manage. The consequences are visible everywhere. Attention spans shrink. Conversations become shallow. Ideas are replaced with trends. We start mistaking being informed for being wise. But constant entertainment doesn't just make us passive, it reshapes our brains. Studies show that overstimulation weakens our ability to sustain attention, to delay gratification, and even to experience joy in ordinary moments. The more we seek stimulation, the less capable we become of finding meaning. So ask yourself the defining question: are you entertained, or are you enslaved by entertainment? Because every time we escape boredom with a click, we reinforce the habit of fleeing from depth. And depth is where truth lives. The cultural collapse of attention decline often begins silently, not with war, but with distraction. The Romans had bread and circuses. We have Netflix and TikTok. And just as Rome fell when entertainment became more important than virtue, we too may be approaching a cultural breaking point. Historically, civilizations rise through struggle, discipline, and vision. They fall when those same qualities are replaced by pleasure, distraction, and apathy. Plato in the Republic described how societies dissolve when pleasure becomes the highest pursuit. He called it the tyranny of desire, a slow erosion of wisdom by indulgence. The philosopher Aldous Huxley predicted that the future of oppression would come not from the state, but from pleasure itself. He envisioned a world where humans would love their servitude, losing the capacity for critical thought. That prophecy has been fulfilled with frightening precision. Our devices train us to expect stimulation every few seconds. Scroll, swipe, click, next. But beneath the surface of pleasure lies dependency. The brain adapts, demanding more stimulation just to feel the same satisfaction. What once was enjoyable becomes necessary, and what becomes necessary becomes addiction. Entertainment, in its purest form, was once art, a mirror to the human condition. Shakespeare, Beethoven, Michelangelo, their works elevated consciousness. But mass entertainment operates through algorithms, not inspiration. It doesn't care about meaning, it only cares about engagement. And engagement is the new economy's word for captivity. Everything must be fun, fast, and shareable. News is spectacle, education is performance. The world becomes a theater of distraction, and we, the audience, never leave our seats. Isn't it curious how silence now feels threatening? Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. Silence is the condition of thought, and thought is the foundation of freedom. Without it, we become intellectually dependent, waiting for others to tell us what to think. Seneca once said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." We are connected to everything yet present nowhere. We follow the lives of strangers but ignore our own. We are stimulated by 1,000 illusions yet starved of a single truth. Creativity requires space, boredom, and solitude, the very states we now fear. When art becomes a contest of attention, culture loses its soul. There is an economic logic behind this. Entertainment keeps the masses docile. A distracted population questions less, consumes more, and demands little. The more entertained we are, the less we resist. This is the one-dimensional world that Herbert Marcuse warned about. People no longer seek truth, but comfort. They no longer ask what is right, but what feels good. And so the individual dissolves into the crowd, entertained but empty. The psychology of fragmentation. To understand how entertainment reshapes our minds, we must look beyond culture and into neuroscience. The human brain was never designed for the kind of overstimulation we face today. We have entered an age of cognitive obesity, an overload of stimulation that leaves us intellectually malnourished. When we train the brain for constant novelty, it forgets how to dwell in stillness. Dopamine is hijacked by endless micro-stimuli. Over time, the brain begins to crave stimulation, not for pleasure, but for escaping discomfort. Boredom becomes unbearable because it exposes the emptiness we've been running from. The result is the fragmentation of attention, of identity, of consciousness itself. We become divided between thousands of fleeting impressions, unable to form deep connections or sustain a single coherent thought. This is not just a personal issue, it's a civilizational one. A culture that cannot focus, cannot create. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who coined the term flow, described it as a state of complete immersion where skill meets challenge and time disappears. Flow is where genius lives, yet mass entertainment destroys flow because it demands no effort, no mastery. It offers the illusion of experience without the substance of achievement. Our mental energy, once used for creation and contemplation, is now spent managing distraction. Byung-Chul Han calls this the burnout society, where people are exhausted not by work, but by overstimulation, by too many inputs and too little meaning. The addiction to entertainment erodes not only focus, but also empathy. When every image, story, or tragedy becomes just another piece of content, the soul becomes desensitized. When everything becomes spectacle, nothing feels sacred anymore. Social media has transformed even emotion into performance. People no longer feel, they display feeling. Guy Debord foresaw this in The Society of the Spectacle, warning that the real world is replaced by mere representation. Once representation becomes more important than reality, truth itself becomes irrelevant. This addiction also weakens willpower, the cornerstone of personal evolution. Every time we choose the easy pleasure over the meaningful challenge, we train the brain to avoid discomfort. Nietzsche warned that comfort is the enemy of greatness. Struggle, solitude, and even suffering are the furnaces where the human spirit is forged. Yet in the age of entertainment, we avoid all three. Ask yourself, are you living your story or watching someone else's? Every minute you give to meaningless entertainment is a minute stolen from your evolution. The antidote, the revolution of awareness. The good news is that the human mind, no matter how conditioned, can always awaken. Awareness is the first rebellion. Once you see the machinery of manipulation, you can step outside it. The question is, who benefits from your distraction? Every second you spend lost in meaningless content enriches someone else. Your time is currency. Your focus is gold. The price of your awareness is what is being traded. The philosopher Alan Watts once said, "You are under no obligation to be the person you were 5 minutes ago." That means you can begin the change now. The next step is to reclaim silence. Silence is the space where truth emerges. In silence, the mind reorganizes, heals, and regains its strength. Try to spend a single day without entertainment. No screens, no music, no background noise. The silence will feel unbearable at first because it confronts you with yourself, your fears, your desires, your confusion. But if you stay with it, clarity begins to rise. You start to hear your own thoughts again. Carl Jung knew this. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. To rebuild an intelligent culture, we must recover our relationship with depth. Read books that challenge you. Watch films that move you, not just amuse you. Seek art that expands your understanding of life. This does not mean rejecting entertainment entirely. It means engaging with it consciously. Conscious entertainment nourishes. Unconscious consumption numbs. We must learn to value boredom. Boredom is not a void. It is a bridge that connects the restless surface of the mind to its deeper layers. Many of history's greatest insights were born from stillness. Einstein's theories, Newton's laws, Dostoevsky's novels, all emerged not from noise, but from reflection. In a world that glorifies constant excitement, the ability to be still is an act of revolution. Every moment you choose reflection over distraction, you take back your power. The addiction to entertainment is a symptom of a deeper hunger, the hunger for meaning. People seek endless stimulation because they are empty. But the void is not our enemy. It is our doorway. When you stop running from emptiness, you begin to see that what you were trying to fill was a space meant for consciousness itself. How to move forward? Replace 1 hour of entertainment each day with silence or reflection. Read instead of scroll. Walk instead of watch. Create instead of consume. Over time, your mind will heal. Your focus will return. And life will regain a texture that entertainment can never replicate. The texture of reality itself. The ultimate revelation is this: entertainment is not the enemy. Forgetfulness is. When we forget who we are, we become easy to amuse. But when we remember that we are beings of immense depth and potential, no distraction can enslave us. The antidote to addiction is not deprivation, it is awakening. So the next time you feel the impulse to fill the silence with noise, pause. Listen. Somewhere beneath the surface of distraction, your true self is waiting. Not to be entertained, but to be awakened.